And same with every meeting that we will have a HSE moment. So today's topic I would like to share is, have you installed your Untitled yet? Yes, I have, last week, after that blowing snow and the freezing temperature. You know what? About 15 years ago, I learned one thing, that the tire below 7 degrees, that will, the plastic will become harder and lose some of the traction. So I'm going to share one picture with us to have a quick one. Okay, actually, when you Google that all-season tires below 7 degrees, you will come up with automatic thing. And this is a good reminder that all-season tires are not safe for all season, especially to winter. And you can see the distance of that snow and braking makes a difference. And I want to just show you that in Canada weather, the statistics shows that 7 months, the temperature will be below 7 degrees. So it's good time to switch those on. And some of my previous colleagues, they switched that tie in May and put it back on in September. So it's really just 4 months of the summer season, and the rest of all we are in the snow season. Okay, well, enough said. Stop sharing. And our formal meeting started with the word of the day. And Monica Huang will be the word master today. So go ahead, Monica.
Hi, good morning, Madam Chair. So today I'm going to share the word of the day is the website. So I'm going to share my screen. So where is the share button? Can I share it?
Yeah, yes, you are sharing now.
Okay, so now, yeah, we all know today is a big day for the America, also for the entire world. So I'm sure the word website is along the definition of the website is the direct vote of all the members of electorate on important public questions such as a change in the constitution. So the synonym is the vote, referendum, ballot, and the poll. So the example of using the word of website is, so America now is holding website for their next president. So we encourage everybody to use it for this word. When people use it, so please use wave the hands to encourage the people. And the purpose for the word of the day is to introduce a new word and increase people's vocabulary. Back to chairperson. Chair. Yeah.
Thank you, Monica. Next on agenda is the joke of the day. And today, Bob Matheson will be presenting a joke of the day.
My wife and I Nope, I guess I am live. Sorry about that. My wife and I were have been talking about getting a dog. So last week I was down in Inglewood and I was walking by a pet store, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go in and take a look. So I go in, and right in front of me there's this pen and the dog in it, and there's a sign on the pen that says "Talking Dog, $5." Well, I'm intrigued, of course. So I go over and I'm looking at this dog, and I said to it, you know what? If you really are a talking dog, you must have had a really interesting life. And the dog looks up at me and he goes, you know what? I really have. It's been an amazing life. In fact, I've lived a lot longer than most dogs. In fact, I was actually born back in World War I in France to, I think it was a couple of doctors that owned me back at that time. But of course, I couldn't talk back then. That didn't happen until World War II. And at that time, I was adopted by a young English couple. And it wasn't long before the gentleman went off to war, and the lady was really, really lonely. So she spent a lot of time talking to me. And I started to pick up a few words. And when she realized I could talk, she thought, you know, the best thing that can happen is you should head off to, or we'll ship you off to the war effort. So they sent me off to the front lines. So I headed off to the front lines, and I was a stray, and I was running messages to the Allies. And I thought, you know, I'm pretty safe here. But, you know, I ended up in a German POW camp, and it was awful. They treated us like crap. Anyhow, I survived. And at the end of the war, we were liberated by the Canadian Army. They came in, and a soldier picked me up, and he took me back to Canada. And I've been here ever since. And I've been kind of passed from family to family. And you know what? Now I'm just sitting here in this pet store, and I'm just waiting for somebody to come in and adopt me. I went running over to the store owner, and I said, I can't believe it. You've got a talking dog over there, but I can't understand, why are you only charging $5? I would pay anything for that dog. And the store owner said, that's because that dog's a darn liar. He didn't do any of that stuff.
Thank you, Bob. We will move to our formal agenda, to the formal speaking. And next agenda on the item on the agenda is the table topics, and Marcy Field will be the table topics master. Please go ahead, Marcy.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I am delighted to start off our session today and continuing with the theme of radios. My husband was pleased to inform me that he used to sing on the radio. However, his mother advised him that he needed to get off because he was scratching it. I'm going to, Leah has agreed to come up and be our first table topics speaker. And I am happy to provide this. Okay, there we go. Here's an option. So Leah, your topic will be wherever the spinner stops. So Leah, you watch a lot of what on the radio?
Thank you, Marcy. I think that's a really interesting question because I don't think you can really watch anything on the radio. I'm going to change it up and take it as what do you listen to a lot on the radio. These days, I actually don't have a radio that I listen to anymore. I listen more to podcasts. They are very similar, but they're not usually live, so you can kind of find the same content. I listen to mostly really boring things. I'm kind of a big nerd, so the ones that I do listen to, I listen to Choose FI, which is about personal finance. I listen to one about random science facts. I'm a huge nerd. And then the last one that I listened to that I'm really sad that they've changed is called Modern Love. And they talk about some different takes on love. And basically, I am constantly listening to podcasts. I am a very audio type of learner. So it's very easy for me to learn that way. And I really enjoy being able to listen while doing chores or other things. So I don't listen to the radio very much anymore, but I do listen to a different form of audio entertainment. Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you very much. That is actually an old famous quote that a lot of people said. I watch a lot of baseball on the radio. There's some other interesting questions regarding that. Matt, would you be up to picking one of the table topics if you're still here? You're muted, so I can't hear you if you are able to talk to me. Okay, Bob, would you be willing to take one? Bob, did you say yes? I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Yes, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, we will spin the wheel because it's like the Wheel of Fortune. This is TV, almost visual. Okay. Share the first song and your impressions that you remember from hearing from the radio. Thank you.
Holy goodness. That is so far back in my life. You know what? I don't even remember what the first song would have been that I would have heard. I'm sure that I was very, very little at the time. We had a really cool old radio at that time that my dad had, and it was something that he got back on the farm when my mom and dad first got the electricity on the farm. So that's how far back it went. It was one of those great big old wood radios that stood on the floor, and my dad used to tune into it all the time. And he would listen to ball games, and I guess watch them, as you talked about here a little while ago, Marcy. It was a really interesting time, I guess, in my life. When I was very young, we got television, and of course, television totally took over for the radio. And that was when we watched absolutely everything, because on a farm, what else was there to do after chores were done at night and you had your dinner, and you would sit there and you would watch TV for the rest of the evening. And then, of course, bedtime in those days, pardon me, came along about 9:30 or so, and off to bed, and that was pretty much it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. I remember doing that switch over, and I do remember the big old radios, the ones that my husband used to stand on and scratch when he was singing on the radio. I would now like to see, Madam Timer, do we have time for one more, or are we out of time for moving forward with our
We are out of time now.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, Ms. Table Topic Toastmaster. And now we are moving to the prepared speech. And our first speech is from Kathleen Doyle. As most of us know that she's our newest member, for pushing her outside of comfort zone. And when her speech title is today is her first speech icebreaker, and the title is On a Path to Wisdom. And her evaluator is Shirley. Shirley, would you mind to tell us about her objective of the speech?
Catherine is doing icebreaker speech on presentation mastery pathways. she has 4 to 6 minutes. So it's green at 4 minutes and yellow at 5 and red at 6 minutes. So it's maximum of 6 minutes of topic. And in this icebreaker, she would be including personal stories to connect to everybody and basically a little mini introduction to the club of her life. Please welcome Kathleen Doyle.
Thank you, Shirley. When I asked Kathleen about the theme of the day, and she said she does not listen to the radio very often anymore. She tends to get news from TV or online, as most of us. And she tends to be stuck in her own little world of streaming. She also mentioned she would try to listen more and open herself up to new and exciting music. So moving towards wisdom, Kathleen Doyle, moving towards wisdom.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm Catherine, and this is my icebreaker speech. Okay, I have been a homemaker now for the last 10 years or so for, many different reasons. I felt as if the world had moved on without me until recently I was invited to be a guest at one of your weekly meetings. As I witnessed the kindness and encouragement and respect that everyone showed to one another, I began to believe that maybe I could in fact find a place to thrive outside of my home environment. In today's world, we're often led to believe that our individual value is dependent on looking and behaving a certain way, on our material possessions or even our financial status. I believe we're in an age of simplicity and in recognizing the gift of diversity and the ability to be at peace with who we are. We've become polarized by our opinions, and our communication skills have suffered for fear of giving offense. A few weeks ago, a conversation with anyone who has an informed opinion. That got me thinking about how and where I get my information in order to become informed. Do I gravitate towards the sources that line up with my current beliefs? Or am I brave enough to give thought and consideration to the opinions of those with whom I generally disagree? In the current political and social environment, it's difficult to trust any source. We're bombarded with politically weighted information, and rarely does the source cut to the chase and deliver accurate, unbiased facts. I try to hold the providers of my information to the same respectful, decent standards to which I try to hold myself. I feel that it's my responsibility to thoroughly do my research and sift through all the relevant information in order to form my opinions, at the same time keeping my values intact. Now, we won't all agree, that would just be way too easy. So maybe it's time to go back to basics and remind myself of what my core values are. I think I might be surprised at how much we all actually agree. I'd like to share a couple of simple values that are important to me, as I'm sure they are to many of you. We all deserve respect. And if I show it to everyone, there's a good chance that it will be returned to me, regardless of different opinions or socioeconomic backgrounds. I recognise the hurt that slander, gossip, or smear campaigns can cause, and I make every effort not to engage in and to ignore these negative behaviours. If I can continue these practices, maybe I can bridge some of the gaps from my end that currently divide me from some of my peers. Now, kindness is also key. Someone once said that everything we do has a payoff. Not necessarily a financial or a material payoff, but a mental or an emotional payoff. Kindness gives a return like no other. The expression on someone's face after a kindness has been received and appreciated is priceless. I try to give freely of my attention, my kind words and gestures, especially at times of disagreement. This allows me to listen and in turn be heard. My hope is that this practice has a potential to lead us down a path towards greater understanding and acceptance of one another. In our desire to be right, it's easy to overlook the bigger picture and to home in on small emotional triggers that make us feel clever. Alternatively, when we pool our ideas, calmly assess all the information and collaborate with our peers in a respectful and kind manner to create a satisfactory result for everyone, I believe we're on a path towards wisdom. Consider this. Do we want to be just clever? Or would we rather be wise? I'd like to conclude by saying that it did not escape my notice that my very first speech was scheduled for, wait for it, US Election Day. Whew. Following the news south of the border has become like an addiction for me. I do plan on entering a treatment program after the results have all been announced. All joking aside though, let's hope that once it's all over, we can continue our journey back to a place of kindness and respect and focus on growing together again instead of growing further apart. Madam Toastmaster. Sorry, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kathleen. I forgot to mention that I wear a couple of the hats today, including the chair and the Toastmaster. Yeah. And we will have 1 minute break for evaluator to finish her job. Lost. I think the time is up. So continue recording. And our next speech is Lisa Branch. As most of us know that Lisa is our immediate past president, and she's taking on the different pathway right now on the humorous pathway. And in fact, that she attended that our area humorous contest and was, I don't know if I can use the word plebiscite by all the voters voted as #1. And Lisa's evaluator is Tammy. And Tammy, would you like to please share her objective of the speech today?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stephen. I will also share Lisa's thoughts on the theme. Occasionally, they do listen to the radio as they're driving back and forth from school with the kids, but it seems like the oldest Bluetooth is now taking over as the device and the playlist on Spotify that they are currently listening to, or they listen to the Heist podcast from Audible. The radio is a dying media in Lisa's house and vehicle. With that, Lisa's speech today is the purpose for the member to determine their style of humor and apply it to a speech that centers around a central message. Lisa's title of her speech is Great Expectations. Her speech length is 5 to 7 minutes, 5 minutes on green, 6 minutes on yellow, and 7 minutes on red. Back over to you, Stephen.
Great Expectation, Lisa Branch. Lisa Branch, Great Expectation.
Maybe you've heard the following quote by Mark Twain. Sing like no one is listening. Love like you've never been hurt. Dance like no one is watching. Live like it is heaven on earth. I think there should be a fifth line that says, laugh like no one cares. Because in reality, they don't. And they're probably on their phones anyway. Fellow Toastmasters, I think each of us is a little self-conscious of something, so we hold back, afraid of what others might think. For some of us, it's singing or dancing. And there's others from this audience where it's public speaking, which is why we're here at Toastmasters, learning to be better communicators. When it comes to singing and dancing, I'm afraid there's no hope for me, not even with lessons. Thus, I have decided to focus on laughing. Let me explain. If you were to tell me a joke, you would probably get a smile. Maybe a silent chuckle or my shoulders shake a little. If you've hit my funny bone, you may hear the rare chortle. But I don't know that I've ever really lost myself to a belly laugh in front of an audience. How about you? Are you polite and professional in your mirth? Or do you laugh so loud that the people in the next room know that you're having a good time? Today, I'm going to take you on an exploration of two things that make me laugh, and we'll see if they make you laugh too. First, I appreciate a good pun or play on words. Maybe it's more of an intellectual joke, but I get giddy with the groaners, especially when it's spontaneous banter. Here's an example. My husband, who of course knows I'm an electrical engineer, says to me, "What's up?" Oh my, that was a powerful question. I thought it had a lot of potential. You're experiencing a little resistance. So you're saying that the sparks aren't flying? You'd really have to amp up this conversation. Shocking. This load is too much and I don't have the capacity. Yeah, I guess you're burnt out. Ooh, that hurts. I will put my punny words in the chat box in case you missed some of them, and feel free to add. The second part of our journey requires some visualization. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. If you've been on Pinterest, then you've likely seen something called Pinterest fails or heard of the phrase, nailed it. I don't know why, but I get the giggles every time I scroll through some of my favorites. Here's how it works. Someone sees an idea on Pinterest, whether it's a craft or baking or a classy photograph, and then they try to recreate it. They post the before and after pictures like this. I mean, they tried. I'm sure it still tastes good. I think I'd be a little disappointed as a child to see this on my birthday. Maybe this sounds a little creepy. Again, I mean, they really try, but it doesn't always turn out. This one they definitely nailed. I mean, the expression says it all. Actually, my daughter has tried this one in a cold river. I think this one gets an A for attempt. This. Why do they put teeth on the hedgehog? It looks naked. I love it. This was my favorite. I think the only thing they got right is the monster part. I think it's about expectations. People expect the same results without the right equipment or the right ingredients. I mean, fondant is so different from a buttercream icing. What were they thinking? I don't know what you were expecting. I've just lost my, there, no, you're still there, good. Maybe it was something great, maybe not. I hope you shared a laugh with me, as it's really hard to tell on a muted line what the audience is really reacting to. My hope for you is that you'll risk something here at Toastmasters, whether you're working on your communication or leadership skills, or just laughing out loud like no one cares, because they still don't. But hopefully it's because they're finally off their phone and laughing too. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lisa. That was a great speech. I like those pictures. Expectation versus reality, same as we are growing on a journey via Toastmasters. So we will keep silence for just 1 minute so the evaluator can do her job. Okay, we are going to catch a little bit of time, and we will be moving to the third important session, which is evaluation stage. And before doing so, I would like to call Sherry to provide time for the former speaker and also table topic session.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Leah's time in the table topics was 1 minute and 30 seconds. Bob's time in the table topics was 1 minute and 16 seconds. Catherine's time in her icebreaker was 6 minutes and 3 seconds. Lisa's time in her humorous speech was 7 minutes and 30 seconds, right on the money.
Thank you, Sherry. The first session we started is the table topics evaluation, and Benjamin Zhang will be the evaluator. Hello, Ben.
Thank you, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So our first table topic speaker is Leah. Leah, I like you when in the beginning you point out that you really cannot watch the radio. And so this shows you are very attentive to the question. I also like you when you are speaking, you put a lot of smile, and you are very relaxed, and you are very comfortable. And I also like you how you are developing the speech, and you give lots of details, and you like to listen to the podcast related to the financial, science fact, modern lovers, entertainment, and so you put lots of detail, and I really like it. And any area for improvement, I think you can be more. I think you can work on your end, and you can just summarize what you are talking about. You mentioned, and also maybe I observed you have hand gesture maybe, but you are you hand like position like this. Maybe next time just be more relaxed. And so overall, I really enjoy your speech, and I like your smile and how you develop the speech. Our second speaker is Bob, and sorry, I just clicked the wrong button. And so Bob's your topic is share the first songs from the radio. I like you use strategies to talking about something you are more familiar with. Like you didn't directly answer the questions, but you talk about watching TVs and listen to radios when you were young and with parents. And I think this is a very good strategy. And I also like you when you are talking, you are very smooth. And so for improvements, maybe I would suggest you can slow down a little bit, and so take some pauses, and so you can organize better. And so overall, I really like your speech, and you are talking very smooth, and you use strategy and to talk something that you are comfortable, and this is something I can learn from. Back to you, Stephen.
Thank you, Ben. We are a couple minutes behind, so let's move to next agenda, the formal evaluation. And Shirley is the evaluator for Kathleen. Shirley, the floor is yours.
Catherine, I absolutely loved your speech. It was so strong that I think if you join for a contest, you will be one of our next winners. You talk great. I loved, and I absolutely loved the hat decor in the background. I don't know if you made it specifically for Toastmaster or if it was just there, but it's so cute. I love that you beautifully related your life and how Toastmaster came to your life. I love the phrases that you used. It looked like that you have paid lots of attention choosing the vocabulary. You conveyed your intention to us. For example, losing pleasure of simplicity or forgetting about diversity. They were not only rhyming together, they were just so pleasant, especially hearing it today that our neighbor country is so divisive. The same, you mentioned that already. I loved your hand gestures. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too little. It was just perfect. And I love the unifying subject that you chose that brings our attention to be more as a team, to work more as a team and be united. I like to suggest that you may want to work on standing because you will be one of our best candidates for competition. So maybe sometimes practice standing up in front of the camera and talking. And in Zoom, you can actually record yourself and then watch and evaluate yourself and improve that way too. And I like to challenge you to not to use your notes at all, because I know you have ability to do that. if you practice a bit more, just the points that you have to get back to your notes, highlight them in yellow. So next time you look at them, you just look at the yellow ones, the highlighted ones. And then eventually have a page that only has the highlighted part, nothing else, because the rest of them you remember. And then see how you remember even the highlighted part. And then eventually you don't even need your notes. That's how I do it. I gradually work towards not using the notes. In general, you did a great job. I am looking forward to hear your next speech. Thank you very much, Catherine.
Thank you, Shirley, for your vivid comments and positive feedback. Lisa's evaluator is Tammy. Please go ahead, Tammy.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Lisa, what a brilliant title to go along with such a humorous speech. And I actually really wish that we were actually all in the epicenter, because I think you weren't going to be the only one rolling over and laughing. Because today, I know we got the belly laugh out of you, even though you were trying to reserve it and not let it be seen by others. You have an incredible job of tying your full speech together and giving us, like you showed expectations. You outline your speech very clearly as to, we're going to talk and we're going to explore what makes Lisa laugh. And then you say, I'm going to talk about 2 points. And you clearly talk about the 2 points and you actually share examples. And I don't know how you managed to pull this off today, but you actually had your puns going in as to words in the chat, then along with being able to very slickly have your PowerPoint up on the screen and being fully prepared, which I thought was excellently done, because it didn't take away from any of the timing or that transition point within your speech. Where you were kind of going back and forth with my husband and myself having a conversation, my only recommendation would there be maybe changing up the vocal variety a little bit, because it did still sound in the same person tone of yourself, because you were actually right into the camera. You did a great job of the gestures of making sure that when you were making a point, you got closer to the camera, which I thought was brilliantly done with the way your speech was organized for today. One other item I'd like to suggest, in knowing that you're going into the next division contest here, is definitely be very cognizant of time. You pulled it off within 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and knowing that the timelines between 5 to 7 minutes, that would be the only area I would actually ask also that you maybe focus on just a little bit more to keep it within there. But very well done. I think it was very much enjoyed by all. And it was actually enjoyed by myself, because I was sitting here laughing, thinking, yeah, I know what reality is compared to expectations. So thank you very much, Lisa, for your speech, and look forward to your next. And back to you, Mr. Stephen Yang, our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tammy. Same as I today, and you are wearing 2 hats as well. Next will be you again as a general evaluator. Tammy?
Thank you, Stephen. I'd like to just comment on Stephen starting the meeting on time. I am not sure if I started just about a minute to time. Did you actually get to run through the full agenda with everyone?
I did it prior to the meeting, but I didn't mention the meeting. Yeah.
Thank you. Fantastic job and great safety topic. Looking maybe at the transition time of trying to go from PowerPoint 2, and maybe filling in the words as to what you're trying to talk about as starting off with the safety topic prior to the screen coming up. So I think that was very well done also. Bob, if I could actually offer up a suggestion when you're providing with the joke of the day as to it's adding humor into and prefacing why you were the joke master. I didn't quite catch that at the beginning, but then I also caught that you were kind of on a red light closer to the end. So maybe it's just to kind of watch the timing of the joke master, as it is down to expected to be like within a 1 minute kind of time frame, just to allow us the time for table topics and that opportunity going on further. But well done with the joke, Bob. Monica, great job on being prepared. Had a little trouble with the transition of the PowerPoint on. Just recommend that if you could get on a little bit earlier to the call and maybe test that out, or maybe have it given to the chairperson for the day where they can bring it up on their screen also. Just a thought. Marcy, love how you changed up our table topics for today and actually brought in the spinning wheel. We have seen that with other clubs, and well done, and liked how that actually works for us, because it does work very quickly as to coming up with questions, and your questions were all related to the theme today. So very much enjoyed that. Maybe just provide an opportunity for seeing if a management rep or a guest would like to take on a table topic as coming in and joining in with our meeting, as you did offer for Bob, and Bob did already have a speaking role, as we do want to give everyone an opportunity to speak during the meeting. But thank you very much for that wheel today, Marcy. That was a great addition to table topics. Ben, really liked how you actually you repeat the question so that we can remember what the question was about that you're evaluating individuals on, but be careful, maybe paraphrase it a little bit to kind of reduce the time where you can give feedback to the individual, as time is short for feedback. Would like to always challenge you to find areas where you can help challenge that individual as to what could they do a little bit differently to step up the game. And that's my challenge to you, Ben, as everybody, yes, they've done a great job and a great speech, but find that little nugget that they can take on as a learning for the next one. Sheree, very suggestions, fantastic as to suggestions challenging yourself. Remember, we want to focus on Kathleen's speech as to not trying to bring it back and bring it back personally on you, but providing the opportunity to provide feedback in for Kathleen and Catherine's speech, and give her that opportunity where we're not pulling it back in on ourselves as to what we would do. And with that, I will ask if my grammarian could please help me out by providing the grammarian report. Leah.
Thanks, Tammy. So the main purpose of the grammarian is to encourage and commend any good use of language by anyone that was speaking today. And we were very lucky, and I had kind of a hard job because both Catherine and Lisa had some really great use of grammar. Sheree already touched on some of the sentences I also had written down, and I'd find that I'd write something down and then you'd say something really cool after. So I just have little bits. So I liked your words: polarized, bombarded, in our desire to be right, etc. You did a really great job. Lisa, you did a phenomenal job using puns. I was very impressed, and you gave me a surge of laughter. For the use of the word of the day, it was a harder word to use, but Stephen, I noted that you had that down. And Tammy, I also liked when you said cognizance of time, but thank you.
Yes, as we're running over and we're a little bit behind here now. Helen, any highlights you would like to share on the awe counter report for today?
Our counter purpose is to report, notice people you overuse the Ophelia sounds of the word, such as am, and. So I would like to suggest Stephen and Benjamin. I know that's also my issue as well. When you're thinking, you have many filler words. So next time, try to slow down when you're thinking something, then try to control use the and. Tammy and Catherine, you have a couple of are and used. The others, like prepared and impromptu speakers, did a very good job. They didn't have any failure words. That's all. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Helen. Ashish, do we have anything from the watcher's standpoint?
No, everybody was good, and everybody was watching the camera very well. In fact, my
Excellent.
camera stopped working right now, but everybody was good.
Fantastic. I would now like to turn it back over to Stephen, our chairperson for today's meeting.
Thank you, Tammy. I would like to invite our guests and management rep to provide us any feedback or comments. First of all, Paul from Fluor management team.
Well, thank you, everyone. I enjoy coming to these sessions, and Tammy only invites me about once a year, so happy to be here today. Very interesting to see this format for a Toastmasters meeting. I think you miss out on the opportunity for the eye contact with individuals and your ability to kind of work the room. And then I thought about it and I thought, well, you don't have to commute, and you could probably find a way, excuse me, a better way to maybe interface with other clubs or listen to more speeches from others around the world, because it's all virtual now. So, you know, pros and cons. Hats off to you for embracing the format, I guess, and some good speeches today. I'm also a big pun fan, and I have a standing meeting with my direct reports that we have to end the meeting with a joke of the day. So bad puns are prevalent in our meetings and lots of groaners there. So continue to add humor to the communications. Is a very, very effective way to communicate and to punctuate a message. So thank you again for having me. Interesting format today, and find ways to keep going with the eye contact and keeping humor into your speeches and into your back and forth with each other as you do constructive criticism and feedback. So thank you again.
Thank you, Paul, for your great observation. And Doris is our guest today. Doris, would you like to share some thoughts or observation of the meeting?
Sure. And thank you very much. It was a great meeting. It's my first Zoom meeting of Toastmasters. And I share the same as Paul, there is this sort of more intimacy or the direct feedback that's lost in a Zoom meeting. And I do miss that, especially with Lisa's, with laughing, because you can't really hear it. And that's a dynamic in the room that's really, really important, I feel. But the one thing that I also feel is lost, and maybe, you know, I don't know, you can think about it, is when somebody has a speech, in the other clubs, we always had everybody else who wanted to provide feedback, you know, on the little slips. And I found personally that extremely helpful, especially when you have a handful in the room that are saying the same things, either positively or for room for improvement. And it also helps that if there's sort of an outlier, then you can kind of put things in context, right? And I feel that would be important also in Zoom, but it's sort of lost because we don't want to maybe put it openly for everybody to see and just more personally. So that's my only kind of observation with the new format. So thank you.
Thank you, Doris.
And I want to join you next week again. Yes. Thank
Definitely.
you.
Thank you. Do we have any announcements from executive? Oh, Marcy, yeah.
On this Thursday evening, we're having Division D Circle of Gold, and Matt is still looking for a couple of volunteers to help with that. If you're available on Thursday night, if you could send him an email. He dropped his contact information into the chat box. I believe he was looking for some timers, and I'm not sure what the other roles were that he was looking at, perhaps a watcher. But if you could get in touch with Matt, and if you've never been to a Circle of Gold, it's a really great learning experience. And we are supporting our two candidates who are going forward to the district contest. That is Lisa in the humorous contest and Shelley in table topics.
So So Marcy, Matt is looking for a sergeant at arms, a timer, and someone to monitor chat.
Okay.
And it's going to go, it starts at 7.
Okay.
Thursday night.
So if you could fill any of those roles, great learning experience. Really encourage you, if you have the time on Thursday night, to put your name forward.
Thank you, Marcy. With that, I'm calling the meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well done. Well done.